Let me get my water. Okay, I got something to drink. So I'm happy now. Hi, welcome to my eating show. Today I'm just gonna be having a chicken, rice, and vegetable soup that I made. There's no recipe for it. I just threw a bunch of stuff in a pot with some chicken broth and some seasoning. And the vegetables that I have in here are broccoli, cauliflower, and carrot, and just some cow rose rice and a chopped up chicken breast. So yeah. Whew. Now I haven't tried this yet, so I'm just my first time tasting this. Tastes like a chicken soup with rice. So this is actually really good. Sorry for being such a slob. This turned out better than I thought. It doesn't look very appealing. Let's see if you can get a look at that. That's what it looks like. Doesn't look very appealing at all, but it's got a lot of flavor, and the vegetables are nice and tender. I've been eating nothing but homemade soups for the past week just because I've been having some stomach issues, and it's been cold. That's really good. So yep, I'll move that out of the frame there. Okay, so I don't know what the weather's like where you live, but it's been getting pretty cold at night here. I think the temperature drops in the low 30s. So it's been really, really cold at night and not very warm during the day. Oh, I kind of don't want to talk. I just want to eat my soup. I outdid myself this time. It didn't take me that long to make this either. If I'm cooking from a cookbook and the cookbook says it'll take 20 minutes to prep and an hour to cook, it's usually about 50 minutes to prep and 2 hours to cook, because I'm just not a fast cook. When I'm done with the eating show, I have a whole chicken in the refrigerator that I need to spatchcock, which is butterfly it. And that's basically you're just cutting the spine off the chicken and you're laying the chicken out flat. And then I'm gonna dry brine it with some salt. And then tonight I'm going to mix some thyme and rosemary and some butter together And then I'm going to shove the butter underneath the skin of the chicken and then rub the outside of the chicken with butter. That's been my favorite way to cook any type of bird. And I'll probably end up doing the Thanksgiving turkey that way. But there's a lot of people who don't like breast meat. But when you cook your bird that way, the breast meat turns out really, really juicy and lots of flavor. Oh, this is really, really good. It really sucks when something tastes good and you don't want to talk. All you just want to do is eat. I went to an all-you-can-eat sushi bar on Tuesday. And I ate more than $25 worth of food. I ended up having dumpling soup, seaweed salad, and then I had chicken teriyaki, and then I had a bulgogi and kimchi roll, and then a rainbow roll, and I had mackerel, and there was something else. I can't remember what it was. But that was definitely more than $25 worth of food. Mackerel is my favorite fish for sushi. But that night I didn't really like it. I don't know, maybe it was the way the mackerel was cut, but it just didn't taste the same as it normally does. Oops. How much soup do I have? Okay. Nice and piping hot. So, a few weeks ago, a celebrity, I don't really want to say a celebrity, but she is, but she's one of the co-hosts on The View. She made a comment that she wouldn't hire someone who had a ghetto name. And there was a lot of people who were upset by what she said. And I totally understand why people were upset. Okay. So the person that said this was Raven-Symoné, and she is Black, and she's a lesbian who was married to a woman. And a lot of people were upset by her saying that just because of who she is. But I wonder how many people actually sat and thought about baby names and how do you go about picking them and how is that name going to look on a resume? How is that name going to resonate with other people. Not that it really matters, but when you have someone who is female and Black and lesbian who openly admits to discriminating someone just solely on their name, it makes you wonder, how careful are people at picking names out for their children? And when I was reading people's comments and things, and even watching blogs of people who address this on their channels, one of the things that they would bring up are celebrities who've given their children unusual names. And one person that kept getting brought up is Gwyneth Paltrow, because Gwyneth Paltrow named her daughter Apple, which is it's an unusual name. And I forgot this other kind of fruity name that people were talking about. Something about watermelon something. I don't know. I don't know who the person is, but I'm really hungry. Piping hot. More soup, more soup, more soup. Can't see what I'm doing. Making a mess. Oh, and then there is one of Jessa Duggar Seawald. She had her baby on November 5th and finally revealed the name that she and her husband had given their son, which is Spurgeon Elliott. Which Spurgeon is it's a very, very strong, unusual name. And it's not the worst name I've ever heard of. But when you say his full name and you picture this kid as a 40-year-old man, Spurgeon Elliott Seawald doesn't sound all that unusual. It's actually a very strong, masculine, it just calls attention to him. But I don't know how I feel about calling a 3-year-old that. I mean, when I was out on the dating scene, and I would meet guys with names like Justin or what other names have I heard that just kind of made me think like, wow, how is that going to sound when you're 80 and someone's calling you Justin? I don't know. It's a nice name for a kid, but it just, I don't know. The names that I like for kids are usually mature sounding names that a kid can actually grow into when they're an adult. But there was a lot of people that didn't like the name Spurgeon. I know my name is unusual. Shavonne is an unusual name. Unless you're Irish. And of course, every Irish person that I've met has told me my name is Irish. So the truth be told, my mom, when she picked that name for me, she thought it was French. But it isn't. I don't know. It's not spelled the Irish way. The Irish way is Siobhan. And I'm glad that she didn't know how to spell it that way, because a lot of people would probably dork that up. I have a lot of family that have very unusual names. And when they were named, it made me scratch my head as to why the parent would give them that name. I mean, and it seems like the less educated or something, the less educated they are, the more ridiculous the name is, kind of deal. So I don't know. I just I do. I have a lot of relatives that their names make me cringe. Mm. Sorry, my meal is not as elaborate. But here's the thing about rich people who give their kids stupid names. For example, well, I wouldn't call it stupid, but really unusual names. Gwyneth Paltrow has a lot of money, and she's got a lot of connections. So she could have named her daughter Butthead, and it wouldn't make a difference because of her name, because of who Gwyneth Paltrow is, and because of the fact that she has money and connections. That's not going to hurt. That's not going to hurt her child. But when you're poor and you don't own anything, and you give your kid a stupid name, you pretty much create a new hurdle for them to have to jump. Because I was really shocked that a lesbian would say something like that, but if she's thinking that and she's doing this, how many other people are looking at her resume and seeing the weird or unusual name and just tossing it in the garbage? I mean, if that's a name you feel like you really, really need to give your child, then make it a middle name or something. Don't make it a first name, because I mean, you can put the initial, you know what I mean? But that's just, So what do you think about baby names? What's the dumbest baby name you ever heard? I have a whole slew of them. But just because I have a lot of people I'm related to that have ridiculous names. I'm losing all my natural light because of the time change. Oh, that's a big carrot. Okay, my second bowl is almost up. I don't plan on having children, so I don't need to think about baby names. But maybe you're going to have a baby soon or know someone who is. Help guide them. Like if someone were to tell me that they were going to name their kid something before they actually named the kid, I'll tell you if I think the name's stupid or not. Because I have a friend who, she wanted to name her daughter Sierra, but she wanted to give it a funky spelling. And she wanted to know what I thought about it. And I told her the name Sierra is fine, but the way you're spelling it, when she goes to school and her teacher looks at that, she's going to mispronounce it. the teacher is going to think my friend was an idiot. And then I had to bring up my friend's sister. And she named her daughter Tatiana, but she spelled it Titania. So every time someone reads the girl's name, they say Titania instead of Tatiana. And she gets mad every time someone mispronounces her name, but I had to remind my friend, you remember your sister? And she's like, oh, yeah. It's like, don't go unusual. If you're going to call her Sierra, just spell it the way it's always been spelled. My friend never named her daughter that, by the way. She gave her another name. But I am almost done with this bowl of soup. This is my second bowl. I have a whole chicken in the refrigerator that I need to wash and salt and prep for dinner tonight. So I'll see you next weekend. I'm thinking I'm going to go for something on the Chinese side, like beef with broccoli. Ooh, excuse me. Most likely beef and broccoli. Ooh, excuse me. And General Tso's chicken. Oh. I'm not doing an eating show on Black Friday, but I will post something. And you have yourself a nice weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.